next race is coming up, qualifying Heat B versus D. Obviously, we have secured who is on pole position for Superheat 1.
And that last round of heats for seniors as well. Let's take you through the grid, though, for this qualifying heat between groups B and D in X30 Junior.
It's Sweden's Scott Lindblom who starts it on pole position. Jos Mulder starting alongside. Spain's Angelina Simmons from Belgium's Senna Minier go from row number 2. Jorn Helder and Jesse Phillips go from row 3. Dan Alleman and Toby Gale go from row 4. Simon Katola and Stig Dredemaker round out the top 10. They go from row 5 from Didier Klieft and Nilis Malik on row 6. Alex Pinera and Federico Sbardelity round out row number 7.
Connor Clancy and Max Murray go from row number 8. Quintin van Leeuwen and Matteo Peruccio start on row 9. Victoria Farfus starts on row 10 alongside Rock Pinera. Elvis Krasauskas and Flavio Cara start on row 11. Last 2 rows of the grid, Daniel Motta and Elias Lemont on row number 12, and Jürgen Anna starting 25th and last in this one. 8 laps to decide it. This is the last race of the qualifying heats for X30 Junior. Groups A and C have completed their programs here for today. Can this set of drivers do what they need to do to book themselves into the best slots on the grids for tomorrow's Super Heats, trying to get themselves in the top 36 as well in that intermediate classification to not leave themselves with too much to do tomorrow?
Yeah, exactly that. You know, if I was Tyke Butler, you've just finished your last qualifying heat of the day. You're currently 3rd. You're probably really hoping that Scott Lindblom goes down, because Buckley's always been in these races with Mackie. Hasn't he? He's been in the same group as him, so he's always had to deal with it. He's always coming second there. What's coming first? He knows that that might not happen if he's in the same superheat as him, and he might drop down a little bit more. Even he'll make the final, but he'll drop down quite a bit on that one. If he could get into his own superheat without him, he might have a chance of winning it, and that might help him out a little bit in starting where he wants to.
Indeed. Well, the racing gods all know what's about to happen. We do exactly. Not. The grid looks pretty much all formed up. Good running there from the X30 Juniors. Into the tram lines. Are we good for a start? Lights are red. They're out the green. And we're racing once again here at Franciacorta. Great start for Lindblom. Great start for Simmons as well. He's immediately up to P2. Up to P3 as well, I think, is Jorn Helder. So great start once again from those on the inside row. Someone's off the circuit towards the back of the field. It was very close through turn number 4, but it's advantage Scott Lindblom at the front of the field, already breaking away from the rest of the pack.
And I think that one driver was Nilis Malik. He did not clock up until the last person, so I think he may have been the driver in bother, but he's still in the race, and so is the rest of the field. Back through they go through turn number 13, now down the back straight in towards turn 14 for the first time. And again, defensive line there for Simmons. Bit of contact there in the background. Who's got spat out there? It's the Spirit Racing that went wide. I think it was Dan Alleman that went out wide. Well, your race leader, Scott Lindblom, is so far ahead. Once again, it's a carbon copy. Oh, and again, down the inside there. Jorn Helder. Well, there's a bit of contact there between the two of them. But still, Angelina Simmons has not been deterred. Is fighting back here.
And Simeon Katola coming into play. He's had a good start, up 5 positions for the Finn, racing for GP racing this weekend. Drivers have got to remember they've got to keep it smart here. They don't want to undo all the hard work that they've done so far across the 2 rounds already that have taken place today. Justin Mulder trying to fight up back through the order in the number 27, the bright green helmet there in the black and white's victory lane. Alex Pinera has had a good start. Has had a difficult weekend. Both of the Pineras have had a tough weekend here in Italy so far. But the Spaniard for Alto Club, Ositu Valle, going there in 6th place. End of lap number 2. It's a Fusion Motorsport 1-2. Lindblom from Helder. Simeon Cantola now there in 3rd place, checking over the shoulder, assessing the situation, which right now is probably work with Jorn Helder to try and close down what is now a .773 gap to the race leader, and I'd say is coming down right now.
Catola there with the fastest lap of the race on that last lap would suggest you are correct in that. Jorn Helder as well, who's gone purple in Sector 1 and now in Sector 2, I think is closing down, because the gap's less than 0.7 of a second now. if these two start battling, it'd be the worst decision they'd ever made in their life. They are closing in. Keep pushing, keep working together, go for it. Do not start battling. Oh, we're seeing the lines here, and down the inside will go Katola. Now, he may think that's a good idea, but they were closing in. The work that they've done there, the gap stands 0.4 of a second. If the gap continues to come down, it's fine. It's worked. But if it starts going backwards, probably not the right thing to do, because Jorn Helder was the fastest driver out on circuit on that last lap. But let's keep an eye on that gap, because actually, for Katola, actually breaking away a little bit from Jorn Helder, just that little bit. But, you know, again, it's just a difficult situation to judge right now.
This is a really key lap for Katola in the story of this race, because as he is doing right now, if he can prove himself to Helder, say, I'm worthy of making that move for second place because I'm quicker than both yourself and the race leader, come with me and you might win the race here. And he's done exactly that. He is closing in on Scott Lindblom here. So the two Scandinavians at the front of the order. The gap is now 1/4 of a second. 50.984 for Katola. That is some magnificent pace in these conditions. And the Finn is closing in now on Scott Lindblom through turn 5 and 6, sweeping into 7. Scott Lindblom checks over his shoulder and thinks, my goodness me, where is that number 76 come from? Because now Scott Lindblom's going to have to get the hammer down here to hold on to this lead.
Exactly. Katola started this one on the 5th row of the grid in P9. And, yeah, so that would have been out of sight from Lindblom at the start of this. It's a new driver, Jorn Helder. 5-second in-race time penalty for Jorn Helder in 3rd place. A warning flag has come out for the 25. I'm not sure what it's for. We are midway point, nearly the latter stage of the race, as Lindblom sends it back down the inside. He is not going to allow Katola to hold on to the lead on this one, as the two have chopped and changed. You can see there Lindblom saying, yeah, sorry about that, come on, let's go. And I think Katola's just going to say, all right, okay, fine, I'll stay here. I won't go for the lead again. But we'll see what happens, because Katola is fast here, rapid. I didn't think the move earlier on was going to result in them closing up the gap. I thought the gap was going to open up again. But Lindblom, I think, is in kind of cruise mode now. I think he'll have stepped up a little bit now that overtake's happened, but they're not the fastest drivers anymore.
The trouble they might have, though, is if Scott Lindblom's ultimate pace right now is not quick enough, they're going to get caught by this second group, as Angela Simmons has gone down the inside of Helder. Just Mulder has come through as well. We're 2 laps to go in this one. And Katola and Lindblom had a very good 3rd sector there. They've got about 3/4 of a second over the chasing trio down into turn 5. Once again, it's going to be too far back there for Katola to try and move. We'll just hold station and try and creep that gap down again through sector number 2. Scott Lindblom is managing this one right now. Another very professional drive from this experienced driver from Sweden. He's raced in many categories in 2024. Has he got enough here to hold on? He does seem to be pulling away now from Simeon Katola. Has Katola pushed a little bit too hard in the early stages of this one? Well, that run into turn 14 would suggest the answer is no. He's still got the power down the straights. There's been a change for 3rd and 4th as well. Mulder now up into 3rd ahead of Simmons. Helder now down to 5th.
Yep, indeed. But again, look at this. He's gone wide here, and I think Scott Lindblom knew it was going to happen on that final lap, so he stayed tight on the inside of turns 2 and 3. That denied Katola that chance to go in, and instantly go defensive late on the brakes, though. Was it too late on the brakes? No, it wasn't. Simeon Katola there takes the lead of this race, but again, we'll have to keep the door closed. Jos Mulder is right there. This is dangerous territory for Scott Lindblom. Remember, if he drops any lower than 4th, he'll be out of pole position. He dives to the inside, wheel to wheel, and Lindblom goes through. He just closes the door on Katola. He gets back up into the race lead here, down into 14 for the final time. It is going to be a concertina effect, but they all hit the brakes at bang on the right moment. It's Scott Lindblom out of 15. It's pole position for Superheat 2.
What a defensive drive there from Scott Lindblom. He wrestled his way back into the lead. And, well, he must have picked up some tips from his teammate Harrison Mackie, because once again, a Fusion Motorsport driver is able to control things through turn 14 and hold on to the lead. A magnificent job from Scott Lindblom. Will be 2nd in the intermediate classification, and that will mean pole position for Superheat B tomorrow, and a very good opportunity to lead going through to the final as well, depending on how that superheat goes. Got to give it to Simeon Catola as well. A very good drive, up 7 spots in that one, and had a good chance to win that one. It will have elevated himself massively in the intermediate classification. Look out for Catola tomorrow. That could be a car that very much plays a part in how things go in those superheats. Let's have a look at the provisional classification as the drivers head into Parc Fermé. Scott Lindblom wins by 0.067 of a second. Just Mulder there in 3rd place. Jorn Helder makes it 2 of the Dutch drivers in the top 5. 4th place for Helder. Angelina Simmons, another great drive there in 5th place. Dan Alleman, Alex Pinheiro, Toby Gale, Conor Clancy and Quinton Van Leeuwen were all in the top 10. Jesse Phillips better, 11th. But it's still been a difficult weekend for last year's driver who was top of the standings in Mini at this stage.